Remember the good old days of dual income, no kids, double-digit pay raises, and two-for-one stock splits? Well, these days, money's a lot harder to get a hold of and even harder to hang on to. That's why State Farm agent Paul Dawning would like to introduce you to the Discount Double Check. He'll go through your car insurance policy line by line to make sure you're getting the discounts you deserve and aren't leaving any money on the table. It's fast, it's free, and when he's done finding you 10% here, 15% there, you could find yourself with savings up to 40%. That means savings worth hundreds of dollars, and that's a pretty good return for simply investing a few minutes of your time. So call State Farm agent Paul Dawning today at 219-884-6947 because being there to help keep more of your money in your pocket is why he's here. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Good afternoon, and welcome to the 800 Credit Score Man Show. I am your host, Kevin King. He is I, and I am him, the 800 Credit Score Man himself. And again, thank each and every one of you for coming in and listening to the 800 Credit Score Man Show. I absolutely, truly appreciate it. And today, I'm late. I'm extra late today. A lot going on with basketball for my kid and all kind of stuff. So I'm very, very late today. You know, usually it's at 1:30. I put out a notice that it would be at 5 o'clock. I'm even late for 5 o'clock. But guess what? It's 5 o'clock somewhere. So thank you for hanging in there with me. Hope you find some value in this show. Today, we're going to talk about savings and credit. Now, what do those two things have to do with each other? We're going to discuss that today on the show. And so you know how the show works. I got to come on. I got to give you some shout outs. I'm going to give you a topic. We'll discuss those things. We'll also have the question of the day. And then we're going to end out the show. And hopefully you'll have some things to take with you. And hopefully then you'll be able to implement those things as well. So let me give this first shout out. I got to give a huge shout out to Francine Bergens. Congratulations on your new TV show. Her show will be called Heavens Boulevard, and it premieres March the 12th. So you guys look out for Heavens Boulevard with Francine Bergens. All right, so let me jump into the show a little bit really quick. We're talking about savings and credit. And this week is actually American Savings Week. Well, last week was American Savings Week. So savings and credit, how do they go together? Do they fit at all? So the reason that I decided to do this show, because one, beginning of the year, I said we were going to talk about more than just your credit. So we're going to talk about other things financial that could help you potentially save some money, be able to take that money and be able to apply it to some debt that you have, which if you bring down that credit card debt, it's going to help you with your credit score potentially. So that's why I brought up this topic for today, savings and credit, and marrying the two. So savings, from all of the data that individuals have looked at that are in this field, people that save well also have better credit scores. So that's the real reason that we're bringing up this topic. So it's not just the benefit of you having a couple of extra dollars in the bank or being able to go out and do some things, go on vacation or what have you with your savings. Also, people with this mindset of savings, they also have better credit scores. So that's the reason that we're bringing up this topic for you today. So not that savings actually helps your credit score in itself. Just because you have $10,000 saved in the bank somewhere means you have a better credit score. That's not the case. It's really probably more about being responsible with your money, responsible with budgeting, and being prepared for that unexpected event. Oftentimes what happens with people credit is not simply because they just didn't want to pay or because they were out there trying to defraud people and get some things and looking at not paying. The reason they're having issues is because they simply don't have the money to do so. So it could be an event. You lost a job. Maybe you had to take off your job for an extended period of time. Maybe you're simply not being paid enough at your job. So you're having some issues with how much money you have coming in versus how much is going out. And oftentimes that hurts your credit. I mean, sometimes if you just have something minor, if you have a car accident and it's not a big car accident, nobody got hurt, but you got to pay that $500 deductible or you got to pay that $1,000 deductible and you don't have it laying around. If you look at the data, it'll say that some people don't have, or the majority, vast majority of people don't have $500 saved for retirement, let alone having $1,000 saved for anything else that's coming down the pipe for them. So we're going to talk about some savings tips for you today. And at the very end of the show, we'll get into how does that relate to your credit in itself. All right. So that's what we're going to be on today. So stick with me and take some of these savings tips to heart. If you want to go ahead, get a pen and a piece of paper out, or better yet, listen to the show yet again. So if you got some things, you writing them down. I talk too fast for you at the end. Play the show again. Play the show on a different platform. If you know, we're on iHeartRadio now and Podbean and, of course, all the other places that you ever get them. Castbox. Personally, I think I told you guys I never hardly go on Castbox to see what's going on. There are a lot of people listening on Castbox. So if you're listening on Castbox right now, I want to say thank you so very much. And then if you're a first-time listener on Castbox, I'm going to say welcome. So savings tips. Let's talk about savings tips. The first thing you want to do when you're thinking about doing some savings, you want to set a goal. You've got to set a goal. Now, don't just pick one out of the air. With any goal, it should be relatively attainable. So I'm not saying, I don't want you to pick something that's way, way out of the blue, but it should be relatively attainable, but not something so easy. You can't put a goal together that says, okay, I'm going to save $100 in the next year. $100, one, is not a lot of money to be saved. You know, one little thing, you get a copay from some medication that you use, and that $100 is gone. So it can't be that small, but it should be attainable. If you make $30,000, it may not be attainable for you to save $10,000 in a year. So that might not be something that you can do. And a goal needs to be attainable, and a goal, excuse me, and a goal needs to be measurable as well. So this one is easy, the measurable part. We're talking about savings so you can actually see it. You can see it building in your savings account. You can see it building in whatever bank account you're holding it in. Or if you're just keeping it in your mattress, you can feel that it's lumpier than it used to be because you got so much cash in your mattress. So make sure that it's attainable and it's measurable. Another thing when we talk about goal setting and it being attainable, okay. So like I said, if you make $30,000 a year and you're saying you're going to make $10,000, you're going to save $10,000 of that, then maybe that's not the case. Maybe you can't do that. But also you need to look at it and break it down as well. So if you make the goal, hey, I'm going to save $6,000 this year as my goal. You need to break it down for you so you know exactly what you need to do on a monthly or weekly basis, or however you're going to save this $6,000, or however you plan on doing so. Because if you don't do that, then you have no idea how you're supposed to reach that $6,000. If you have it in your mind, okay, well, I'm going to save $6,000. I know I'm going to get $4,800 from my tax return. I'm going to take $3,000 of that, and I'm going to use that as $3,000 of my $6,000, and then the rest of the year I have the time to do it. You need to write it out. You need to see how that works for you. So if you're going to say that you're going to save $6,000 this year, here's how I would suggest that you go ahead and break it down. Look at it on a monthly basis. So $6,000 a year is $500 a month. So that means you need to save $500 a month. I don't care if you're doing it on a weekly basis, every 2 weeks. Maybe you only get paid once a month and you're going to put that $500 away. But you got to know that it's $500 a month if you're going to save $6,000 a year. If you're paying rent, think about this too. Like if you're paying rent somewhere and you pay $500 a month, wherever that is where you can pay $500 a month, then you pay $6,000 a year towards your rent. So some of these things you need to just think about, how does it add up for you? So that's $6,000 a year. If you're doing it on a monthly basis, $500 a month, and that's a little bit over $115 a week. So if that's unrealistic for you, then simply adjust it. This is your plan. This is your savings plan. You don't have to be out there comparing yourself to anybody else, somebody that makes more money than you, somebody that doesn't have as many obligations as you. You got a single person in your life and they're able to save a whole bunch of money. They don't have any kids or anything of that nature, but you guys make the same money. You may not be able to save as much money as them, because you got a couple of kids and you have other things that you need to do with your money. But make sure that you set a goal that's attainable. And if that goal is, say, the $6,000 a year, break it down. That means that I'm going to save $500 a month or $115 a week. If you raise that goal and you say, I'm going to do it, I'm going to double that. I'm going to save $12,000 a year. That's really easy to figure out, $1,000 a month. So you know what you got to do, but make sure that you actually set that goal for yourself, and that you break it down in realistic standpoint for you. Here's another tip for you when it comes to savings. And this is something that a lot of people do. We plan on saving and we have all this money sitting up somewhere, but you want to separate it. You want to separate that money from the money that you spend. So if you're saving it and you're saving it in your bank account, then don't save it in your checking account where your debit card is tied to and you always use it. So here, let's think of this. If you've ever had, just think about it. If you've ever had any extra money, then you look up and it's gone. So what happened to my extra money? Probably one of the reasons that it's gone is because you kept it with the rest of your money. So if you keep it with the rest of the money, what's going to happen is you're going to wind up spending it. So I don't care if it's in your house. If the money's in your house, place it in a different drawer than where you keep the money that you grab when you go out the door. So keep it somewhere differently than where you normally keep your money. Or if it's in a safe, put it in a safe. Put it in a piggy bank. Yes, a piggy bank. Piggy banks are not just for kids. Use a piggy bank. If you've got a mason jar, use a mason jar. If you've got anything, a vessel that you can put some cash in, go ahead and do that for your savings, but make it separate from the money that you have. So when I think about mason jars, that since I mentioned them, if you got a mason jar, or you got those jars with the where you put your salt, where you put your sugar in, your flour in, and all those kinds of things. If you got jars or something like that and you have savings, you can save for more than one thing. So your savings could be for something short term. Your savings could be for a vacation or whatever it is. But you can do that. Use your mason jar and label your mason jar so you know which one is for what. So you don't have to save all your money just for saving's sake, or all your money just for your emergency fund, and then I can't touch it because it's my emergency fund and these pair of shoes are not an emergency. But they'll go ahead and label them and save money for each of the things that you would like to do. So if you got these mason jars and you label them, then you got one for savings. You got one of them for that new pair of shoes that you want to buy. You got one for a vacation that's coming up or that you want to take, even if it takes you 6 months or if it takes you till, okay, I'm going on vacation next summer, not this summer. You've got that mason jar for your vacation. You got the one for emergencies, like we just talked about. And then you got the one for grandkids or for your children or for whatever it is. So make sure that you separate them so you're not pulling from the same amount of cash if you have to. If you need to pull from that cash, because oftentimes it's just human nature. Everybody, you got some savings, you got a little extra money, something comes up, whether if it's an emergency or whether if it's a want or if it's a need, but we go and we pull from that cash and you look up and that cash is gone. So just to reiterate, save that money separately. Make sure that your goal for your savings is attainable for you. And then, of course, make sure that it's measurable and you can see it. You can see that money piling up. All right. Another thing before we get to the question of the day. After this is going to be the question of the day. Another thing for you when it comes to savings, save automatically. Set your bank account. Simple as that. Just set your bank account up to transfer money automatically. I tell you myself what I did. Initially, I would say, yep, I'm going to save. I got my bank account. I got my regular checking account. I got my savings account. I'll just go in and I'll just transfer money. I'll just go ahead and transfer money once a month and get it done. And then I look up and 2-3 months have gone by and I didn't save any of that money that I was talking about. Like, I'm looking at my checking account and I'm saying, why do I have extra money in this account? I have no idea why I have this extra money. Well, it's because I wasn't transferring that money over to savings like I had planned to do. So then once I set it into automatic, then it automatically did it same day of the month every time. And that account built faster than I thought it would. The savings account did. So make sure you go ahead and do that. Pay yourself first. Oftentimes we look to pay that phone bill or the car note, but pay yourself first. You work every day, you work hard, pay yourself first. That's how people do it that save the most money. They pay themselves